everybody, ADG here with a slightly different kind of video for you. This is about bargain basement buys. This particular locomotive is a good example of that. You can still find bargains if you know where to look. This engine, for example, is a Kato RS-2. I picked this up for about $52 plus shipping. It was originally on being sold on eBay for $130, and if we take a look at it, there's a good reason why I didn't sell for that much. To start with, before I even take the cover off, we can see it's equipped with one of these prehistoric C couplers / repeato coupler, depending on what terminology you'd like to use. They basically mean the same thing. And also the railings are not in the greatest shape. Let's go ahead now and actually take the shell off. So obviously at that price, much like any kind of car, you would look at a used car lot, etc. You know, something not terrible, but still kind of shoddy would tend to push people away, especially if the price is higher than it should be. And in my opinion, $130 for this was way too much. So what happened is this thing basically sat there. I put an offer in it at the time it was posted. And of course, that wasn't accepted. And it sat there. I think this whole saga started, I want to say in January or just before January. And basically the unit sat there until about a week ago. I noticed that the price had been dropped already about a few weeks before that, down even lower to a lower price of about 100 and forget how much they charged. I think they wanted $89, and it had been sending like that for a month or so at that lower price after months of being higher, and I went ahead and put the offer in. And taking a closer look at it, I've just seen some more ridiculousness that probably scared a lot of people away. This railing is now bent because someone didn't put the shell back on it correctly. I'm going to take care of this now because I can't stand looking at that. Let us get this cab off here. I don't know why anyone would do something this idiotic here. Clearly the person who sold this, which was an antique dealer, did not understand how to handle these things. This has been bent all the way over and curved. It's like someone forced this in place. And look at the same thing on this other side here. I mean, wow. I don't know who reassembled this thing, but clearly they did not know what they were doing. They really did a number on this model. No wonder it didn't sell. So yeah, I was able to get this for $52. Again, it's not in perfect shape, but the whole thing was I didn't need something in perfect shape, and you'll see exactly why I didn't need it as such. Hint, it has to do with a previous project on the channel. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to manually see if I can unbend this. Maybe I can make use of this frame later on. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to check to see if this actually works the way it's supposed to. Let's unbend this railing up here and then try to get the cab back into place. Ugh, I mean, seriously, what a mess. This is why you have to be very careful when buying something from one of these antique stores that think they know what they're doing but don't. Or anyone who doesn't. Yeah, it can cause a lot of problems. That's why this thing didn't sell, because it wasn't marketed correctly. In addition to that, it's just the appallingness of how off this stuff was. There we go, those railings are back. Even though I'm not going to use the shell, I can't stand looking at those railings anymore. I had to fix that. And again, it's missing the front coupler. It doesn't have the coupler clip, but I can easily replace that if I want to. Let's go and take a look at the drivetrain on this. Let me actually leave the shell on for the time being. I'm going to go ahead and test it. Zoom out of here so you guys can see better. I'm going to go ahead and put my analog power pack on. I believe this is only analog, though I could, without much trouble, test this for being DCC. So, and I think I will do that. Let's now turn the throttle on. Okay, it does run, but yeah, it's not commutator wind. It doesn't have the def squeal, but it's heading that way. Oh yeah, there it is. Def squeal. So this has the squeal of death built into it at no extra charge. Yeah, this is not what I would call a very good running locomotive. So, yep, it looks definitely we're hiding something else more than just looks. Okay, now I wonder if this has DCC on it. That would definitely be a winner. I think what I'll do here to do a quick check on it, I'll unplug Buzzy over here. Let me go get my DCC system on. The easiest way of checking to see if you have a DCC decoder without disassembling the locomotive is to simply place the engine on a DCC track and see if you get a lot of racket. If you don't, you know you got DCC because it wouldn't do that. If you do, then you know you don't have a DCC decoder. So let's see what this is. I doubt it has DCC, and I'm about to find out. Take it a second. Nothing. Oh. You know, it also helps to test these things to make sure you have, because I was working on another project earlier with this, to make sure you have your main track power plugged in, not your programming track, because that won't buzz on that one. Yep, there it is. This is not decoder equipped. So, it runs rough. It's horrendous. I'm tempted to ask now for some of my money back because it's not the condition it was supposed to be in. I'm going to go now and get to work on this model and see what we have to work with here. Part of me is tempted to say, hey, could you guys do something about the sound, about this thing not being quite the condition you said it was? I know how to fix this, that said. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and fix it, but I am going to make a note, I think, to the person who sold this to me and let them know, hey, you did not inspect this very well. This is just a mess. Ugh. What I have now is I have the stock board out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here now and actually go into the commutator and lubricate that. You can actually get access to that in this particular locomotive. It is available. Right there. I don't see much in the way of buildup inside it, but I'm going to go ahead and try to clean it out best I can. Let me go get my conductive lubricant. So here's how I deal with getting this particular getting the commutator lubricated on an N-scale engine. What I've done now is I've taken a little conductive lubricant and put it into this bottle cap here from one old water bottle. And I'm going to now use this microbrush to basically get some of this and then apply it to the commutator directly. I'm going to actually zoom you in a little bit more because this is because again, these models are hard to see when zoomed out. There we go. You can get access to the commutator, but you have to take the stock board off, which I have. And right in here is where it is, right where I'm pushing my brush. I'm going to go now and grab a little of this from that. You don't need much. That's why, if you know, I don't put much in this because I'm not going to be able to use it for anything else. I'm just going to go in there now and just slowly but surely, like I'm doing here, give it a good... Let me go ahead and put a board back on here and test this. And I should note again that my usual disclaimer applies here. I'm not responsible for any damages that might occur when you work on these engines. Okay, I got it on the track now. Let's zoom out. I'm going to turn Buzzy back on here and see if I can make it work. I put the analog board back in because I want to test to see how this thing runs, if it runs. I don't see why it wouldn't run. It should run better now since I put that in. It's not a good sign. Oh, I see why it won't work. This contact fell out before. Helps to make sure your contacts are in place. See, I was testing you there, folks. All right, obviously I didn't see that, but you get the idea. Let's go put this back in place. Let's now go and just make sure this is guided in, like it should be, and I'm going to now place this on the track and make sure the throttle is set to 0, or off, rather. There we go. Started to power up there, but it stalled again. There we go. Oh, a little loose. This locomotive seems cursed. Even the repair locomotive for this thing is giving me problems. There we go. Ooh. Might help if I had been a little bit more careful on the throttle. Not too concerned because there's no plastic details on this. Either way, I wouldn't want to save them. Let me actually put the tank back on this thing, the fuel tank, so it doesn't fall off. So now I'm getting nervous with this thing already. It's making a little noise now. So I now have these nylon tip brushes from the same supplier. I think this was actually a Hobby Lobby. Forgot which one I got this from. Gonna go now and use a little bit more conductive lubricant and get a little bit more lube on that particular component. I'm gonna lube up the commutator a little bit more and then try it again. Okay, I'm gonna now just put a little in here. What's nice about this lubricant, again, is conductive lubricant is designed to go in the commutator and everything else. So this is not the worst place to put it. Anything here will, in fact, make contact and will help it out. Okay, let's now try this again. Oh, it might help if I put the board back in place. See, I was testing you there again, folks. Okay, I'm lying. You can tell I'm a little tired, can't you? Doing a little squeal, not much. Let's go and hit this one more time with that. So I'm going to give this thing one more lube, and then I'm just going to assume it's good. It's running much better now. Depth squeal is all but gone. It's still a little bit there now, but not as much as it was. Okay, that took a little bit longer than I was expecting. Let's put it back on the track and try it one more time now with a little bit more lubricant. I'm also going to go over the bearings later on. I'm just working on this right now. You can see it starts a little bit, but then it stops, then it slows up suddenly. It's running much better now. There's still a hint of that squeal. That'll go away as time goes on. I think I'm going to hit it one more time with some lubricant just to knock it out. I think that ought to do it then. What I do need to do is figure out exactly what's going on with this thing as to why it keeps doing that. I can't think of anything else that would cause it to squeal, and I am noticing I'm making progress, so it tells me I'm on the right path here. Just got to keep going back over it with some patience. Let's put this back on the track and see if she'll run. Throttle up! So that sounds a lot better. I'm going to do a little bit more lubrication on it, but I'm thinking this will do pretty well.